Once upon a time in a quiet village in Japan, there lived a wise Zen master named Hoshi. People came from far and wide to seek his guidance on various matters, but Hoshi was especially known for his teachings on controlling the mind. A young man named Kenji arrived at Hoshi's doorstep. Kenji was troubled. His mind was always restless, filled with worries, fears, and endless thoughts. He could not find peace. He approached Master Hoshi with great reverence and said, "Master, my mind is like a storm. How can I control it and find peace?" Hoshi smiled gently and said, "Kenji, follow me." He led Kenji to a stable where a beautiful yet wild horse was kept. The horse neighed and pranced around, clearly untamed. Hoshi looked at Kenji and said, "This horse is like your mind, wild and restless. To control it, you must first understand it." Kenji looked puzzled, but trusted the master. Hoshi handed Kenji a brush and said, "Start by grooming the horse. Do it slowly and with full attention." Kenji began to brush the horse. At first, the horse was skittish, moving away from his touch, but Kenji persisted, staying calm and gentle. Gradually, the horse started to relax, enjoying the sensation of the brush. After a while, the horse stood still, peaceful and calm. Hoshi then said, "Kenji, do you see what has happened? By being patient and kind, you have calmed the horse. Your mind is similar. When it is wild, you must be patient and gentle with yourself. Do not fight your thoughts. Acknowledge them and let them pass, like you did with the horse's initial restlessness." Kenji nodded, beginning to understand the lesson. But Hoshi wasn't finished yet. He continued, "Now lead the horse around the yard." Kenji took the reins and started to walk the horse. At first, the horse resisted, pulling away, but Kenji stayed firm yet gentle. He didn't yank the reins or shout, but kept a steady pace. Eventually, the horse followed him obediently. Hoshi explained, "Just as you led the horse, you must guide your mind. When your thoughts stray, gently bring them back to the present moment. Focus on your breath, on what you are doing right now. Do not get angry or frustrated with yourself. Just bring your mind back again and again, with kindness and patience." Kenji practiced this every day. He noticed that when his mind started to wander, he could gently bring it back by focusing on his breath or the task at hand. Over time, his mind became less chaotic. Kenji returned to Master Hoshi and said, "Master, I understand now. My mind is like the horse. It needs patience, understanding, and gentle guidance. I feel more peaceful than I ever have before." Hoshi smiled and said, "Remember, Kenji, controlling the mind is a lifelong journey. Even the wisest among us have restless thoughts. The key is not to eliminate these thoughts, but to learn to guide them with compassion. Continue your practice, and you will find deeper peace." Kenji bowed deeply, filled with gratitude. He left the village with a calm mind and a heart full of wisdom, ready to face the world with newfound serenity. And so, the lesson of the wild horse and the patient master spread far and wide, teaching many that controlling the mind is not about force, but about gentle, consistent guidance and understanding. Master Hoshi often held gatherings where he shared his wisdom with the villagers. One evening, under the soft glow of lanterns, he spoke about the nature of the mind. "The mind is like water," he began. "When it is turbulent, it is difficult to see. But when it is calm, everything becomes clear." A villager asked, "Master, how can we calm our turbulent minds?" Hoshi replied, "Imagine you are sitting by a river. If you throw a stone into the water, it creates ripples. These ripples are like your thoughts and emotions. The more stones you throw, the more ripples there are. But if you stop throwing stones, the water will eventually become still." The villagers listened intently as Hoshi continued. "Meditation is one way to stop throwing stones into the river of your mind. By sitting quietly and focusing on your breath, you allow the ripples to settle. It takes practice and patience, but with time, you will find that your mind becomes as clear as still water." Kenji, who had been diligently practicing the lessons he learned from Hoshi, found great comfort in this analogy. He decided to dedicate himself even more to his meditation practice. Each morning, he would sit by a quiet stream near the village, focusing on his breath and observing the thoughts that flowed through his mind. At first, it was challenging. His mind was like a river full of stones, constantly disturbed by ripples. But Kenji remembered Hoshi's words and persevered. Slowly, he began to notice moments of stillness. These moments grew longer with each passing day, and Kenji felt a deep sense of peace and clarity. One day, while Kenji was meditating by the stream, he noticed a leaf floating on the water. It drifted effortlessly, carried by the gentle current. Kenji realized that just as the leaf surrendered to the flow of the water, he too could surrender to the natural flow of his thoughts without getting caught up in them. Inspired by this insight, Kenji shared his experience with Master Hoshi. The master nodded approvingly and said, "You have understood an important principle, Kenji. Surrendering to the flow of your thoughts does not mean giving up. It means observing them without attachment, letting them come and go like the leaf on the water. This is the essence of mindfulness." As Kenji continued his practice, he noticed a transformation within himself. He became more present in each moment, able to handle challenges with a calm and focused mind. The villagers began to see a change in Kenji too. He radiated a peaceful energy that inspired those around him. Seeing Kenji's progress, Hoshi decided to teach him another valuable lesson. He took Kenji to a quiet garden filled with beautiful flowers. "Kenji," he said, "these flowers are like your thoughts. Some are vibrant and beautiful, while others may be wilted or covered in thorns. It is important to appreciate the beauty and accept the imperfections without trying to change them." Kenji spent time in the garden, reflecting on Hoshi's words. He realized that just as he could admire the flowers without plucking them, he could observe his thoughts without getting entangled in them. This newfound understanding deepened his meditation practice even further. The story of Kenji's journey to control his mind spread throughout the village and beyond. People from neighboring villages came to learn from him and Master Hoshi. They were eager to experience the peace and clarity that came from practicing mindfulness and meditation. Kenji and Hoshi welcomed everyone with open arms, sharing their wisdom and guiding them on their own paths to inner peace. The village became a place of serenity and learning, where the teachings of Buddhism and Zen were woven into everyday life. Through their journey, Kenji and the villagers learned that controlling the mind was not about suppressing thoughts, but about understanding and guiding them with compassion and patience. This lesson resonated deeply with everyone who heard it, reminding them that true peace comes from within. As Kenji's understanding deepened, he began to see his thoughts as a dance, sometimes graceful, sometimes chaotic, but always in motion. He realized that trying to control every thought was like trying to control every step in a dance. Instead, he learned to flow with them, guiding them gently without forcing them. One day while meditating, Kenji had a vision of himself dancing with his thoughts. Each thought was a partner, sometimes leading, sometimes following. He understood that he could choose to follow the dance without getting lost in it. This realization brought him a new level of peace. Kenji shared his vision with Master Hoshi, who smiled and said, "You have discovered a profound truth, Kenji. Life is a dance, and our thoughts are our partners. We must learn to move with them gracefully without resistance. This is the essence of Zen." Encouraged by Hoshi's words, Kenji decided to teach others the dance of thoughts. He organized meditation sessions in the village where people could explore their thoughts through mindful movement and stillness. These sessions became very popular, attracting people of all ages. During one of these sessions, a young woman named Aiko approached Kenji with tears in her eyes. "Kenji," she said, "my mind is always racing. I feel overwhelmed by my thoughts and emotions. How can I find peace?" Kenji took her hand and said, "Aiko, your mind is like a river, constantly flowing. Instead of trying to stop the flow, learn to sit by the riverbank and watch the water pass by. Do not judge your thoughts, just observe them." Aiko began attending Kenji's sessions regularly. She practiced observing her thoughts without attachment, allowing them to come and go like waves on the river. Over time, she found that her mind became calmer, and she was better able to handle the challenges in her life. Seeing Aiko's progress, other villagers were inspired to join the sessions. They found solace in the practice of mindfulness and the wisdom of Zen teachings. The village became a sanctuary of peace, where people supported each other in their journeys to control their minds. Master Hoshi watched with pride as his teachings spread and flourished. He saw how Kenji had become a beacon of light for the villagers, guiding them with compassion and understanding. Hoshi knew that the true essence of Zen was not just in the teachings, but in the way they were lived and shared. As the seasons changed, so did the village. The lessons of mindfulness and meditation became woven into the fabric of everyday life. People began to see the beauty in each moment, finding joy in the simple act of being present. Kenji continued to learn from Master Hoshi, always seeking to deepen his understanding. One day, Hoshi took him to a secluded spot in the mountains where a small temple stood. "Kenji," he said, "this temple is a symbol of the mind. Just as the temple needs care and attention to remain beautiful, so does your mind." Kenji spent time at the temple, reflecting on Hoshi's words. He realized that maintaining a peaceful mind required ongoing practice and dedication. He vowed to continue his journey, knowing that the path to inner peace was a lifelong endeavor. The story of Kenji and the villagers became a source of inspiration for many. It reminded people that controlling the mind was not about force or suppression, but about understanding, compassion, and gentle guidance. Through their practice, they discovered that true peace came from within, transforming their lives and the lives of those around them. Master Hoshi often spoke of the mind as a mirror. "The mind reflects everything," he would say, "both the beautiful and the ugly. To see clearly, you must polish the mirror, removing the dust of ignorance and distraction." Kenji pondered these words deeply. He understood that polishing the mirror of his mind meant removing the distractions that clouded his thoughts. He began to simplify his life, focusing on what truly mattered. He spent more time in nature, meditating by the stream and observing the beauty around him. One day, while polishing a mirror in his home, Kenji realized that the act of polishing was a metaphor for his meditation practice. Just as the mirror became clearer with each stroke, his mind became clearer with each moment of mindfulness. This insight deepened his commitment to his practice. Kenji shared his revelation with the villagers, encouraging them to see their minds as mirrors. He taught them that by removing distractions and focusing on the present moment, they could see their true selves more clearly. The villagers embraced this teaching, finding clarity and peace in their daily lives. A young boy named Hiro, who often struggled with focus and concentration, found great benefit in Kenji's teachings. He would sit quietly, imagining his mind as a mirror and gently polishing away the distractions. Over time, Hiro became more focused and attentive, excelling in his studies and gaining confidence. The villagers began to see the value in simple, mindful living. They started to prioritize activities that brought them joy and peace. Letting go of unnecessary worries and distractions, the village transformed into a haven of tranquility where people lived in harmony with themselves and each other. Master Hoshi saw the transformation and knew that his work was bearing fruit. He decided to share a story with the villagers to reinforce their understanding. "There was once a great king," he began, "who possessed a precious mirror that showed the true nature of anyone who looked into it. The king used the mirror to guide his decisions, seeing the truth behind people's words and actions. One day the mirror became clouded with dust, and the king could no longer see clearly. He called upon the wisest sage in the land to help him. The sage advised the king to clean the mirror, saying, 'The mirror reflects the truth, but it must be kept clear. Your mind is the same. To see the truth, you must remove the dust of ignorance and distraction.'" The villagers listened intently, understanding the deeper meaning of the story. They realized that by keeping their minds clear and focused, they could see the truth in themselves and others. This clarity brought a new level of harmony and understanding to the village. Kenji continued to guide the villagers, sharing his wisdom and supporting their practice. He knew that the journey to control the mind was ongoing and that each step brought them closer to inner peace. The villagers, in turn, supported each other, creating a community built on mindfulness and compassion. As the years passed, the village became known for its wisdom and serenity. People from distant lands came to learn from Kenji and Master Hoshi, seeking the peace and clarity that the villagers had found. The teachings of Zen and mindfulness spread far and wide, touching the lives of many. The story of the mirror and the mind became a cornerstone of the village's teachings. It reminded everyone that true peace came from within, and that by polishing the mirror of the mind, they could see the beauty and truth in themselves and the world around them. Master Hoshi often spoke of the importance of looking within. "The answers you seek are not outside," he would say, "but within your own heart and mind." Kenji took these words to heart, dedicating himself to exploring his inner world through meditation and self-reflection. One day, while meditating by the stream, Kenji had a profound realization. He understood that his thoughts and emotions were like clouds passing through the sky. The sky remained unchanged, no matter how many clouds came and went. This insight brought him a deep sense of peace and detachment. Kenji shared this realization with Master Hoshi, who nodded approvingly. "You have grasped an essential truth, Kenji," he said. "The mind is like the sky, vast and unchanging. Thoughts and emotions are temporary, like clouds. By observing them without attachment, you can find true peace." Encouraged by this wisdom, Kenji began to teach others to see their minds as the sky. He explained that by observing their thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them, they could experience a sense of freedom and clarity. The villagers found this teaching incredibly helpful, as it allowed them to navigate their daily lives with greater ease. A farmer named Jiro, who often struggled with anger and frustration, found solace in this practice. He would take breaks from his work to sit quietly and observe his thoughts, imagining them as clouds passing through the sky. Over time, Jiro became less reactive and more peaceful, transforming his relationships and his approach to life. The villagers began to incorporate this practice into their daily routines. They found that by taking a few moments each day to observe their thoughts and emotions, they could cultivate a sense of calm and clarity. This simple practice had a profound impact on their overall well-being. Master Hoshi saw the positive changes in the villagers and decided to share another story to deepen their understanding. "There was once a young monk," he began, "who sought enlightenment. He traveled far and wide, seeking wisdom from various teachers, but he could not find what he was looking for. One day, the young monk met an old hermit who lived in a cave. The hermit said to him, 'The answers you seek are within you. Sit quietly and look within.' The young monk took the hermit's advice and began to meditate. Over time, he realized that everything he needed to know was already within him. He found peace and enlightenment by looking within." The villagers were inspired by the story and redoubled their efforts to explore their inner worlds. They discovered that by turning their attention inward, they could find the answers to their deepest questions and the solutions to their challenges. This inner journey brought them a sense of fulfillment and peace that they had never known before. Kenji continued to guide the villagers, encouraging them to trust in their own inner wisdom. He knew that the journey within was a lifelong endeavor, but he also knew that it was the most rewarding path they could take. The villagers, in turn, supported each other, creating a community built on mutual respect and understanding. As the village thrived, Kenji and Master Hoshi reflected on their journey. They saw how the teachings of Zen and mindfulness had transformed the lives of the villagers, bringing them peace and clarity. They knew that the true essence of their teachings was not just in the words, but in the way they were lived and shared. The story of the journey within became a guiding principle for the villagers. It reminded them that true peace and wisdom came from within, and that by exploring their inner worlds, they could find the answers they sought. This understanding brought a new level of harmony and fulfillment to their lives, creating a community that thrived on mindfulness and compassion. As the years passed, the teachings of Master Hoshi and Kenji continued to spread, reaching people far beyond their village. The wisdom of controlling the mind and finding inner peace resonated with many, transforming lives and communities. One day, a group of travelers arrived in the village, seeking to learn from Master Hoshi and Kenji. They had heard of the village's reputation for wisdom and serenity, and were eager to experience it for themselves. The villagers welcomed them warmly, sharing their practices and insights. Among the travelers was a young monk named Taro, who had been on a quest for enlightenment. He approached Kenji with great reverence and said, "Master Kenji, I have traveled far and wide seeking wisdom. I have learned much, but I still feel restless. How can I find true peace?" Kenji looked at Taro with compassion and said, "The path to peace begins within. Sit quietly and observe your thoughts without attachment. Let them come and go like clouds passing through the sky. In time, you will find the peace you seek." Taro took Kenji's advice to heart. He spent his days meditating by the stream, practicing mindfulness and self-reflection. At first, his mind was filled with thoughts and distractions, but he remembered Kenji's words and persevered. Slowly, he began to experience moments of stillness and clarity. As Taro's understanding deepened, he felt a profound sense of peace. He realized that the answers he sought were not in the external world, but within his own mind and heart. This insight brought him great joy and fulfillment. Taro shared his experience with the other travelers, who were inspired by his transformation. They began to practice mindfulness and meditation, guided by the wisdom of Kenji and Master Hoshi. The travelers found that by controlling their minds and looking within, they could find the peace and clarity they had been searching for. The village became a center of learning and spiritual growth, attracting people from all walks of life. Master Hoshi and Kenji continued to teach, sharing their wisdom and guiding others on their journey to inner peace. They knew that the true essence of their teachings was not just in the words, but in the way they were lived and shared. The story of Taro and the travelers spread far and wide, inspiring many to embark on their own journey of self-discovery. People began to see that true peace and wisdom came from within, and that by controlling their minds and looking within, they could transform their lives. Kenji and Master Hoshi reflected on their journey, grateful for the opportunity to share their wisdom with others. They saw how the teachings of Zen and mindfulness had transformed lives, bringing peace and clarity to those who practiced them. They knew that their work was far from over, but they were content in knowing that they had made a positive impact on the world. The villagers continued to support each other, creating a community built on mindfulness, compassion, and mutual respect. They knew that the journey to inner peace was ongoing, but they were committed to walking that path together. Their village thrived, becoming a beacon of wisdom and serenity for all who came seeking guidance. The story of the Circle of Wisdom became a guiding principle for the villagers. It reminded them that true peace and wisdom came from within, and that by sharing their insights and supporting each other, they could create a harmonious and fulfilling life. This understanding brought a new level of harmony and fulfillment to their lives, creating a community that thrived on mindfulness and compassion. As the story of Kenji, Master Hoshi, and the villagers continued to spread, it touched the hearts of many, inspiring them to embark on their own journey of self-discovery. The teachings of Zen and mindfulness became a source of guidance and comfort, helping people find the peace and clarity they sought. The village remained a center of wisdom and serenity, a testament to the power of controlling the mind and looking within.